Good morning, dear students. I hope you all are good at home. So, children, today we will do our fifth poem of our English reader book Flamingo. So, the title of the poem is A Roadside Stand. A roadside stand is one of the finest creations of one of the finest poets of America, that is Robert Frost. Right? So, as it is also written by the editor here in the praise of the poet, that Robert Frost is a highly acclaimed American poet of the 20th century, right? He is a modern poet. So, Robert Frost wrote about characters, people, and landscapes, mean sceneries, right? His poems are concerned with human tragedies and fears, his reaction to the complexities of life, and his ultimate acceptance of his burdens. You know, you all must have heard the names of his most famous poems. One of them is Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, that is extremely famous, and that is prescribed there in the syllabus of class 12th as well, Punjab School Education Board. Next is Birches, Mending Walls. These are a few very well known pieces of Robert Frost, right? So today we are going to read his, I would say, one of the masterpieces, that is A Roadside Stand. Robert Frost presents the lives of poor, deprived people, with pitiless clarity and the deepest sympathy and humanity, right? So in this poem, Frost has brought out the apathy of the rich city dwellers towards the poor roadside sellers, right? So, the owners, you may say the small owners of these roadside shops, they have made a new shed with the hope of selling their vegetables and fruits to the city people who often pass by that road in their cars, right? But unfortunately, the rich and sophisticated people of the city are insensitive to the needs of these shed owners, right? The poet is deeply agonized to see the miseries of these shed owners. A roadside stand, the title clearly means that something that stands on the side of the road, right? So here, children, listen carefully. What is the meaning of this phrase in the poem? In the poem, a roadside stand means that those shops, those huts like shops, right? Those are hut like shops which are opened by the poor, helpless village people, right? The shops, the small shops, I repeat, that are established by the poor and helpless village people in order to, yeah, right, in order to obtain their livelihood, right? So in this poem, Robert Frost has beautifully presented how these people are ignored by the rich folks of the towns and cities, right? How they are treated by them, what actually they need, what actually they want, and see is that fulfilled or not, right? So let's start reading the text of the poem. The little old house was out with a little new shed. The little old house was out with a little new shed. In front, at the edge of the road where the traffic sped. Sped means where the traffic moves with speed. A roadside stand that too pathetically pled. Pled means to request, right? It would not be fair to say for a dole of bread, right? Dole of bread means you can compare it to a small gift, but for some of the money, the cash whose flow supports the flower of cities from sinking and withering faint, right? So see, children, the writer tries to say here that he has observed a little shed in front of a little house. That means some farmer with small land holding, or a little land holding would be there, and that farmer has probably established a small shop in front of his home, right in front of his home. Like probably he has occupied some of the space of his house and some of the space of the road on which his house is situated, right? So he has set up a new little shop of himself, right? So he further says that in front, at the edge of the road where the traffic sped, it means, so the shed is there at the edge of the road, at the corner of the road, that where the traffic moves with speed, where the cars and other vehicles of the people move with speed, they take turns with speed, right? A roadside stand that too pathetically pled. So what he means to say here, the poet makes it clear that the owner of the house has built a temporary shed at the edge of the road. So what he says, that too pathetically pled, it means he is probably pleading the rich people, pleading minnate karna, right? He is probably requesting the rich people. It would not be fair to say for a dole of bread, right? So he makes it very clear that the purpose was not to get free money like alms in begging. The poet makes it very clear that the stall owner expects the people to stop there and buy something from him so that he can also earn some cash money. It is this cash money which flows in our cities, and people led luxurious life there, right? So the poet here wants to say that the shed owners have established small sheds in order to sell their vegetables and fruits which they grow in their limited area of land, and they cannot afford to buy a separate land in order to set up a shop or a shed there. That's why they have taken some of the space from their house and some of the space from the road in order to sell their vegetables and fruits that are grown by them on their land, right? So why they have set up so? Not because they want to beg from the rich people. It is because they expect that the people who pass by that road may buy some vegetable or fruit from them. They may buy something from them, and the village people too can feel some money in their hand. They too want to hold that cash money with which the people of cities are living a luxurious life, right? So I hope that's very much clear. Next, he talks of the polished traffic passed with the mind ahead. The polished traffic here means the sophisticated and the, you may say, rich people, well off people, sophisticated city people, they pass in their lavish vehicles, right? Or if ever aside a movement, then out of sorts at having the landscape marred. Landscape means scenery, right? The view. Marred means to spoil. Marred, spoiled, right? Marred with the artless paint of signs that with N turned wrong and S turned wrong, offered for sale wild berries in wooden quarts. A very deep meaning line, a beautiful line. So see, children, I would like to quote an example in order to make you understand this line in a proper manner. So children, you must have seen people who have opened a small business of their own. Suppose a young girl has opened her own beauty parlor, right? So she may not have that much money in order to buy a proper stand, and she may not have that much money to give to a painter in order to write her name and occupation properly on that stand. And she may have requested some of her acquaintances or one of her friends to do the task for her, and they too are ignorant like the girl, and they often write wrong spellings. You would often see that the poor people who have prepared their own stands in order to advertise their products, they often mistake certain things. They often write wrong spellings. So that thing is written here of signs that with n turned wrong and s turned wrong, right? So in the third line which I have read, the poet says that at having the landscape marred, it means rich people's view is that when they look out of their vehicles, they say that these villagers have totally spoiled the view of the nature. Means in villages one can see beautiful sceneries. So the rich people often say that these people, by establishing their sheds outside their houses, they have occupied half of the road. It is obviously inconvenient for the vehicles to pass by that road, and he further says that they have spoiled the road with the artless paint. Artless, artless here means poor, which is not proper, right? Which is not done by a perfect person, which is not done by an artist, right? So I would explain this paragraph again in a while. The poet says that the well-off, sophisticated and rich city people, they pass in their lavish vehicles from these roads, right? So the mind of these rich people is focused on their destination, means the place where they want to reach ultimately. Their mind is focused on their destination, and they are oblivious of the roadside stand. They are totally oblivious of this. They do not generally stop or show concern for these poor villagers, right? Even if they pause there for a moment, right? Even if they pause there for a minute to have a look at these people, they are always critical of the village people. They are always critical of them. Why? What I just told you, they feel that these village people have spoiled the beauty of the nature with their indecent paint, artless paint, with that paint that is not beautiful, that is not attractive. As I told you, if they don't have the money, obviously they would ask someone, some friend or some acquaintance to do the task for them, and that is not done in the perfect manner. Suppose a person has to open a fruit shop, they may not have that much money in order to pay the painter for the preparation of the board. They just write it on the walls that this is a fruit shop, right? And if they write themselves, obviously they are illiterate or they are less educated, they often write incorrect spellings, right? They often write in an unattractive manner. So that's why, that's what the city people feel. The city people feel that these rustics have spoiled the beauty of the landscape, beauty of the scenery with their indecent painting, right? So they show annoyance, they show anger, as the direction signs are also turned wrong. They do not know any interest, they do not show any interest in the things being sold there, right? Such as blackberries, as it is mentioned, blackberries are kept in wooden crates there. They do not show any interest in buying those fruits and vegetables. In fact, they are critical of the illiteracy and attitude of these village people who have established small sheds in order to run their livelihood, right? So I hope that's also clear. Next line. Or crook-necked golden squash with silver warts. Crook-necked golden squash, I hope you have heard of this. Or beauty rest in a beautiful mountain scene. You have the money, but if you want to be mean, why keep your money this crossly and go along, right? So what the poet wants to say here, he says that or crook-necked golden squash with silver warts. Crook-necked means obviously some of them are not perfect in growing vegetables and fruits, right? So what they often do, they often plant some of the vegetables, right? Crook neck means those vegetables grow while their necks are bent. Some of their necks are bent, right? So some of their necks are bent, it means some of those vegetables are not in proper shape, right? Squash, squash means a kind of god, right? So these veggies and fruits they people sell with silver warts means box, right? Or beauty rest in a beautiful mountain scene. you know these roadside stand owners, they sell wild berries in wooden carts, wooden containers, and they also sell twisted necked golden squash. Twisted neck means the vegetables or the fruits, the neck of which is bent, twisted, not straight, right? So squash fruit with silver lump on it, right? As we have seen that, so those silver thread like lumps are there, spread there on those fruits, right, for decoration. The poet further says that the city people disapprove of this, right? So a moment of respite is felt in beautiful surroundings of that village. City people feel that the roadside stand spoils the beauty of the mountain scenery, which can be seen very easily from that view. So these rich people are so selfish, right? They are so selfish that they do not want to share their money with the poor people. But why they get angry with the rustics is not understood by the poet. The poet is angry over the attitude of these rich people who actually do not cooperate, who actually do not appreciate the practices, the little practices of these small farmers, right? So I hope that's also clear up to now. Next he says that the hurt to the scenery wouldn't be my complaint. The hurt to the scenery wouldn't be my complaint so much as the trusted sorrow of what is unsaid. What is unsaid means what is not expressed in words, right? That is visible but not expressed in words. I would explain it. Let me complete the stanza. So much as the trusting sorrow of what is unsaid, here far from the city, we make our roadside stand and ask for some city money to feel in hand. So try if it will not make our being expand and give us the rest of the moving pictures promise that the party in power is said to be keeping from us. Now he is talking of politics. The poet talks of the politics that is, conveyed in such a roundabout manner that the people of villages are often befooled by the politicians, right? So the poet doesn't want to complain about the harm that these people cause to the natural scenery. In fact he is more concerned with the pain and sorrow of the unsaid words, right? Unsaid words means the farmers, they keep on looking at the faces of the people who come in big vehicles, who pass from those roads in big vehicles. They do not complain of anything. In fact, they keep their complaints with them. They too are angry with these city people because the city people have to buy certain things, these veggies and fruits. So it would obviously cost them a bit less if they buy it from here, if they buy it from these village folks. In fact, the village people are annoyed with these city people. Why? Because they feel that they can buy something from us, right? The village people feel that the rich city people should buy these veggies and fruits from them, but they do not say anything. They are annoyed, they are angry, but they do not express their anger. They never express their anger, right? So what the poet says here, he says that he doesn't want to complain about the harm that these people are causing to the natural scenery by hiding it, right? He is actually concerned with the pain and sorrow of the unsaid words. Unsaid word means that the problem is there, right? Problem is already there, but that is not complained by the concerned, that is not complained by the farmers, right? So he is concerned about that pain and sorrow, right, of the unsaid words, and he is actually having you may say empathy with these people. He can feel their pain, right? He further says that the poet further says that the country people means the people of rural areas, people of villages. So these village people trust their rich brothers in city, so they think that they would come to their help, but feel extremely sad, extremely disappointed when their trust is broken by these city people through their indifference. Like they say nothing at that time, but their bad, you may say ugly facial expressions, and even their silence speak about their cold and indifferent attitude towards poor people, right? So they don't say anything, but their facial expressions say everything. So that is what the poet has called unsaid, right? So they don't say anything, but they express everything with their facial expressions, right? Further, the poet says that these villagers established roadside stand far away from the city, and they really hope, as it's a repetition, so the explanation would be same. He says that they really hope that some money from city dwellers should pass into their hands, and they must be able to sustain their livelihood and could live a better life, right? By letting some money pass into the hands of rustic people by the city dwellers, so it will keep the promise of providing comfortable life, which ruling parties have actually failed to do so. The farmers are not even complaining that this and that promise was done to us, right, and that is not fulfilled. Actually, politicians, the ones who only make false promises to provide better living conditions, are never fulfilled by them. In fact, the village people are expecting that instead of begging anything from the government, so they are expecting here that these things, their commodities, their grown up vegetables and fruits should be purchased by the city people, so that they can feel some cash in hand, right? So I hope that's also clear. Next paragraph. It is in the news that all these pitiful kin are to be brought out and mercifully gathered in, to live in villages next to the theatre and store, where they won't have to think for themselves anymore, right? Where they won't have to think for themselves anymore. Kin here means relatives. Kin here means brothers and sisters, you may say. So what the poet is saying here, that he has heard it. It is in the news that he has heard it, that all the poor people whom the poet considers as his brothers or relatives, they would be taken out, they would be drawn out of their land properties, right? He must have, the poet must have heard it in the news, right? What he heard, that the land properties of these people will be taken and they will be drawn out of their properties. Their lands would be brought or acquired for the commercial development, business purpose, right? They want the stand owners, those shed owners, right, to vacate and shift to the rural areas. They promise the villagers that they would get a respectable life and a good space in the village. Then they need not to be concerned about their livelihood. They would not be any need to feel concerned about their sustenance, right? However, they will turn these people into free wanderers, aimless wanderers, who only eat and watch movies all the time. Like all their creative pursuits would be stopped. The whatever talent they have in themselves would be crushed, right? So I hope that's also clear. Next line. While greedy good doers, beneficent beasts of prey. Greedy good doers, beneficent beasts of prey, swarm over their lives, enforcing benefits. So, what the writer is referring to here, he is referring to the beneficent ones, the generous ones. Beasts means animals, right? And to enforce means to compel someone to do something. Enforce, to compel, to force someone, simply to force someone to do something. So the poet here continues that are calculated to soothe them out of their wits, and by teaching them how to sleep, they sleep all day, destroy their sleeping at night the ancient way. What they actually do, the people, they will be settled in villages and given jobs. He has heard it, that they will be settled in the villages and they will be given jobs. This is what the developers have told him. Developers have told, means the people who are there in the development tasks, right? But in fact, children, these businessmen are serving their own interests. These commercial people are just fulfilling their selfish motive, right? So they will turn these people into mere wage earners and working in night shifts and during throughout the day. They will be made false promises, right? They teach innocent people to sleep over or ignore their sufferings. They will motivate them not to pay any attention towards their problems and sufferings, but in reality, they snatch their peace. They snatch their peaceful moments and sleep through exploitation, right? So they will snatch their peace and sleep, right, through exploitation. So greedy good doers have been compared to beasts of prey, the one who preys, shikar banana. So what to do the what these greedy doers do actually? These greedy doers, they swarm over, they haunt over the poor peasants in order to exploit them in every possible manner, right? So they take their sleep otherwise, they take their sleep indirectly. So I hope that is also clear to you. Next paragraph. Sometimes I feel myself I can hardly bear the thought of so much childish longing in vain. Sometimes the poet feels that it is unbearable for him to see the childish longing of the people. Childish means in negative sense, childlike desire. Childish longing means childlike desire of these people who wait for their customers. Like, they are so hopeful that they keep on waiting for the city people to stop there and buy something from them, right? So what he says that sometimes I feel myself I can hardly bear the thought of so much childish longing in vain. That childlike behavior, childlike longing means the desires a child often expresses. Some of the things are impossible. Some of the things children ask are actually impossible in reality. So the same the poet has compared here. He says that the sadness that lurks, right? Lurks means hangs. That lurks near the open window there, that waits all day in almost open prayer. They pray to God for the customers. We have seen, children, we have seen people that they pray for lot of money, that they pray for a lot of comforts and luxuries in their life, right? We have seen such kind of people. But have you seen the people who pray for their customers, who pray that they should get somebody to whom they can sell whatever they have produced by doing hard labor, right? So he says that for the squeal of brakes, the sound of a stopping car, of all the 1,000 selfish cars that pass, just one to inquire what a farmer's prices are, right? So he expresses a very different idea. The poet says that it is really unbearable, it is really painful to see the childlike desires of the people who hopefully wait for their customers to stop, who hopefully wait for the city people to stop there and buy something. So there's a great deal of sadness, right? A great deal of sadness as the stand owners wait near the open window, like they are praying for the people to stop. They don't force them to stop, but they pray to God that these people should stop, right? So they wait for the loud shrieks of brakes. Children, it's written for the squeal of brakes means the voice that is produced by the brakes of vehicles. That squeal of brakes means that voice of brakes, that sound of brakes, when those are applied, we often heard a loud squeal, right? And they also wait for the sound of stopping cars, right? So it raises their hope for some city money that could flow in their hands. They hope vainly. Their hope is waste, because that one car out of thousands would stop there. One car out of thousands means if 1,000 cars passed from that road, only one would stop there, and that would also stop to inquire about the prices of the farmers crops, right? They too stop there so that they can know the difference between their price, farmers price, and the price at which they are sold the vegetables and fruits in the cities, right? So I hope that's also clear to all of you. So the poet says that these people vainly hope that any one car would stop there, but whosoever stops, they stop for inquiring the prices of the products sold by farmers, right? So they only stop to inquire the farmers' prices of the crops or the commodities they sell, right? So reading the next stanza, just one to inquire what farmers' prices are, and one did stop, but only to plough up grass in using the yard to back and turn around, and another to ask the way to where it was bound, and another to ask could they sell it a gallon of gas. They couldn't, this crossly, they had none. Didn't it see? So, children, all these are the expressions of anger. So, what the poet wants to say in this stanza, like when any of the car stops there, their hopes are shattered for it, right? Why shattered? Because they only stop there to dig up the grass, right? Dig up the grass. Why? So that they can use the yard to back and turn their car or their vehicle, right? If other people stop there, why they stop because they want to ask the direction. We also have traveled to many of the places, say we feel that the road is a new one for us, and we don't know exactly the way where we want to reach. So we often stop our car on some of the highways or by the side of roads of some of the villages, and we often ask the local people there where this road leads to, right? So we ask directions. So same is the case the poet is describing, ki actually whenever we stop our vehicle right in front of some people selling their veggies or their commodities, by establishing a small shed, whenever we stop our vehicles right in front of them, they too first of all generate a ray of hope that we would buy something from them. But the moment we ask them the way to which this road is going, so immediately their hopes are shattered and they begin to feel dejected, right? So same the poet talks here that the cars only stop there either to take a round turn or they stop there to ask the way, right? So next line, in the next two lines, he expresses a lot of anger. You know what he says? He says that sometimes some people stop there to inquire if they can get a gallon of gas if that means that they want to inquire if the required fuel is available there. So the poet becomes very angry here. See, he describes that they couldn't. This crossly means in such a, a cross manner, in such an angry manner. He says they couldn't, they had none, didn't it see? Didn't it see means like he is very much infuriated at the city folks' ignorance, because the poet feels that why they couldn't see that these people cannot sell fuel. These people don't have the capacity to save fuel and sell it. Right? So the people at the stand get annoyed, especially whenever they are asked for, like, do you sell fuel? Or can you fill this gallon of gas? So the people feel angry at such questions, because they feel that can't the city people see that we are here for selling our vegetables, we are here for selling a few fruits, so how can we sell a gallon of gas, or how can we save fuel to them? So in this manner the poet expresses his anger, right? So reading the last stanza, that is the concluding one, and see what the ultimate stroke the poet makes. No in country money the country scale of gain, the requisite lift of spirit has never been found. The requisite lift of spirit has never been found. Or so the voice of the country seems to complain. I can't help owning the great relief it would be. Read it again. I can't help owning the great relief it would be to put these people at one stroke out of their pain. It means, as the poet would suggest some solution, right? When he says, see, the requisite lift of spirit. Requisite means the required, desired, right? So he says that he really wants to relieve these people, and he wants to relieve these people of their pain in one stroke. It means in one action only. And then next day, as I come back to the sane, as he become sane, he comes back to sanity. I wonder how I should like you to come to me and offer to put me gently out of my pain. You know, he describes the miserable condition of people living from hand to mouth. He suggests a solution, and see what he says. He sadly states that the prosperity in the city is, not trickling down in the villages at all. The money is not passing from the rich people to the poor ones, right? So no amount of material gains in the country is uplifting the villages, and hence, the spirit of these poor people remains dejected, remains depressed because of extreme poverty, right? So the people from villages, they complain about the backwardness of their areas. The poet accepts that, he suggests a solution. He says that it would be a great relief work to kill all these people in one stroke. For him, mass killing is the easiest and the quickest remedy to put an end to all their pains and sufferings. See what solution he has suggested. He suggests that it would be easiest. It would be the easiest means he doesn't have any other alternative in mind. He suggests that these people should be killed in one go. Mass killing should be done, right? So this is the quickest and the easiest solution to relieve these people of their pains and sufferings, because no other way is there. The poet first longs for the killing of all these poor people at one stroke, but whenever he regains his wisdom, whenever he becomes wise, he thinks that it is vain and inhuman idea. Of course, that is inhuman, right? To kill the poor people. He further thinks that, he should be killed so that he won't see the miserable plight of the poor people. Sometimes we feel that we wanted to cure something, if that cannot be cured, because that is unbearable for us to see, we feel that either this situation be ended. But the poet says that it would be really inhuman to kill all these people, because the poet is suffering at their sight. So that's why he suggests the audience, he suggests the reader that he should be killed, the poet should be killed, so that he should not see the miserable plight of these poor people, right? So he actually wants that the country people should be liberated from their poverty, and if there is no way out to liberate them, to free them from their poverty, he wants the people to kill him, so that he should not look at their poor and miserable faces. So that's all about the poem. I hope you must have liked it, since this is one of the modern poems, and we can easily relate to that. So have a nice day. Happy learning. Thank you.